Mike Soccio, what's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Hey, did you watch the fights last night? I'm talking about Stevens versus Yair.
Yeah, your ear. Yeah, close. Yes, I did watch them. Yes.
Did I say it wrong? Did you
Yeah,
correct
a
me?
little bit. A little
How do
bit.
you say it? Other people told
Yair.
me I'm throwing an extra R in there.
You are. You're saying your ear.
Yes.
It's Yair.
I was told to say your ear. Yair. That's
No,
wrong, though.
No, Yair is right.
Okay.
Okay. You were saying your ear.
Oh, copy that. I did throw an extra R in there. All right, let's go back. Did you see the fight or what was
Yes.
supposed to be the fight?
15
All right,
seconds.
then take it away, man, because I can't make a piece. I can't make a piece out of a 15-second fight. How are you going to do it?
I can't. It's impossible. I'll tell you what without a doubt, the most entertaining part of the fight, the night, was did you see the locked off camera on Bisping and Brendan Fitzgerald?
Yes.
When he got under that table, that was as good as it gets.
I fully agree with that. And that was a little bit of a mess for a couple of reasons. First off, it's rude for the crowd to throw objects of any level, even if that's the low cannon fodder of assault. But secondly, Mike, you've been to those venues. Do you know how hard it is to come up on a drink and how you got to get out your credit card if you brought your family to pay for those things? Now you're going to show your displeasure? Screw that. Drink the drink and head to the parking lot.
You know what? It's kind of like going to the movies and spending $3,000 on popcorn.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then throwing it at the screen.
Never. You take that home at the end of the night, even though you're not going to eat it because it's old stale popcorn. It's the principle. It costs $14.
Definitely. Absolutely 100%.
Okay, but there is a little bit to unpack here because of the story that came up after the fact, which was largely that Jeremy could have continued and should have continued. I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Look, he just made a comment, Jeremy, about, you're the one who poked me in the eye, bro, and let's run it back and all that stuff. I don't think, why would he not want to continue? I mean, why would you want to go through 6 weeks of a training camp away from your family and so on and so forth and go through the hell of a training camp and then get there and 15 seconds later you're done? It just doesn't seem to make much sense to me. I don't feel that's true at all. I think it's a really unfortunate situation. Those gloves are impossible, as you know, and it's really, really difficult, and we're going to keep running into this situation every once in a while.
And by the way, that narrative doesn't fit the bill of Jeremy Stevens. He's never quit anything in his life. What do you tell me? He was tired 14 seconds in? You tell me he was hurt 14 seconds? Come on, that's insane. He wanted the purse. He's a prize fighter. Not to mention, he's pretty good at getting of-the-night bonuses, as is Yair. Well, I'm trying over here. Rodriguez, okay? As is Rodriguez. It's one of those things where I just thought that was a really unfair, kind of like you were kicking a guy when he was down or putting salt into the wound, whatever the analogy you want to give. I don't know how you come away with it. And I would always be hesitant to throw my own personal opinion on those things because what a sensitive part of your body. I mean, if there's anything you don't need to mess with on your whole, it's your eyes. Don't mess with your eyes. Come on.
Definitely, you want to be really careful. Look, these guys that take shots to the groin and when they take shots to the eyes, you got to give them their time. Herb Dean really wanted it to continue. He really tried. He was like, dude, take your time. Don't try not to get the doctor in the cage and everything. And but it's something that if you're hurting and you can't physically open your eye, it's spasming to the point where you can't open it. How can you possibly A, get mad at that, and B, want or expect Jeremy Stevens to continue? I think it's BS, man. I think the crowd was they really threw stuff. I mean, it was awful, and it's out of everybody's control. And it's like, I don't know, it's an awful situation.
And the scary part about it, because I've seen so many people go, oh, so what? It was just a water bottle. That is true. And yes, it was just water, and no one was hurt. I get it. But if you're under attack like that, the fear comes from what you think is being thrown. You don't have time to know, oh, that's just a beer or it's a half-empty water bottle. You just know you're under attack. What's coming next? It can be a little bit terrifying. I mean, when you saw those commentators go under the table so they could protect themselves but also finish the broadcast, come on. That's hazard pay.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely it is hazard pay. And it's true. You don't know water. You're absolutely right.
Right.
First of all, it's not just water. It's soda and ice cubes, and people can throw anything they find near their seat or anything else. It's dangerous. It really is. I don't want to sound like the old corny dude, but it's dangerous and it's not cool. It's not. It just makes MMA fans look bad too, and I hate that because so many people say, "Oh, it's a blood sport," and you watch that stuff. It's so violent. I'm like, no, it's amazing. Have you ever seen a fight at the Saitama Arena or whatever it is in Japan? You can hear a pin drop. you know?
Sure.
And then last night happens and it's like, see? And I'm like, hey. So it's not great. Not great for the sport last night.
All right, so I got to switch gears on you because I've missed you. I've missed you on the show. You took a week off, but there has been some news where you and I left off was what's going to go on with Khabib. Is it going to be Tony? We both agreed, of course it's going to be Tony. But Mike, it's not Tony. And I don't know what's going on here, but there's something going on here to the point that Dana White is now having to come in and say, well, it might be George St-Pierre. Oh, and by the way, Conor's coming back right around the same time that Khabib wants to come back. For some reason, I believe it's part of the negotiation, but somewhere there's a roadblock to where he's having to let the boys at the table know, I'll bring somebody else into this seat if you don't want it.
100%. I think, okay, first of all, it's really sad because they've tried to make this fight 4 times or whatever it is, and it never seems to work out. And it looks like we're heading towards number 5 or whatever time it's going to be. But I think Dana, look, that was definitely a get off, shit or get off the pot situation, I think, with him saying, with George St-Pierre, I think he's reaching for straws there, but you never know. But I think he's really just trying to motivate Tony. I think Tony is a guy, he marches to the beat of his own drum. He's not a guy that's, a standard dude. So he's probably giving them some difficulty in the negotiations. And Dana had to bring out the big guns. He had to say, I will make another fight. How does Conor sound? How does GSP sound? And quite honestly, neither one of them sound nearly as interesting to me. Even Conor, it just doesn't sound as interesting. Tony's the fight to make. I fear that it's not going to get done. I have a very bad feeling about it, but I hope they can get their stuff together and make this fight happen because it's great for MMA. And I don't think George St-Pierre versus Khabib is great for MMA. I know the big thing. I get it. People love George St-Pierre. I just feel like it's a different time. There's no way to really monitor where he's at in his life, where he's at in his fight game. It could be a one-sided situation. George is getting older. He hasn't fought in a while. I don't have an excitement factor for that fight whatsoever.
Yeah, and my interpretation is the exact same as yours. That Dana pulled that out not because George and Khabib is going to happen or because Dana's even going to He was letting somebody know, I can and will move on. As a matter of fact, I can put these pieces together. Now, that's what it seems that Dana was doing. I used to be teammates with Tony Ferguson. I consider him a friend. This guy had a championship that he never lost yet, no longer has a championship. Figure that riddle out, new fans. He then started at the bottom, took out a world champion in Anthony Pettis by stoppage, took out a world champion in Cowboy Cerrone. I guess what I'm saying, when I look at those pieces of the puzzles, that is not a man who's ready to quit when he gets to the championship match.
Right.
But there is a reason Dana said that. And he didn't say, I'll bring George in to fight one of these guys. He specifically said Khabib, which led us to believe that Tony was the one on third base wearing a catcher's mitt. My interpretation.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. Something is afoot. I don't know what it is. I really don't, but I'm sure of it. There's no way Dana comes at a time like this when everybody's on the Khabib and Tony train and starts talking about GSP. It's madness. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like you're trying to make a girl jealous maybe, and you're like, well, I still got my ex-girlfriend, Darlene. Yeah, she's still around.
I haven't thrown that phone number away yet. Right. Darlene got married. I saw her on Facebook.
Exactly.
Oh,
that Darlene? I was talking about the other Darlene.
Let me go get you some flowers. All right. Well, one more fight got announced since we talked last. Not announced, but Dana confirmed that it will happen, which is Stipe versus Cormier 3. The fight to make.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of it? Love it?
I do love it. I think it was really an interesting fight last time. I think the first fight, I will say this, until Cormier was really smart and had that situation where he dropped down and he came over the top, I do believe he was losing the fight. I think Stipe's just a bigger, stronger
and you're talking about
guy, true heavyweight.
The first fight, right, Mike? You're talking. Yes, that's true.
Yes, the first fight. Yep, the first fight. I felt like he was losing until he did that fantastic move that he pulled, Daniel. The second fight was kind of lopsided. I do feel like it will light a fire in Daniel Cormier. And when Daniel Cormier is a winner, as we all know, he's just a guy that finds a way to win. More interesting even than the fight or watching him compete is watching him solve a riddle and trying to figure out how to win. I don't think he was extremely motivated for Stipe 2. I thought he was going to win. He thought he was going to win handily. And he went into that fight kind of, whatever. It's the fight and it's cool, whatever. I don't think he was super motivated. Part 3, motivated. He does not want to lose again, especially in a trilogy situation. This is a rubber match. Daniel's going to figure a way to solve that riddle again. And I can't wait to see how he does it. And I do think he can do it. I think Stipe's bigger and stronger and all that stuff. And he's a true heavyweight. And he can beat Daniel a lot of the time. But I just have a really odd feeling that Daniel's going to find a way to win. Just up here, he's just awesome.
Okay,
so I think he's going to win 3.
So now that we have this evidence from Dana, it looks like the music has stopped. And the only one without a chair is Jon Jones. In terms of, if you were the promoter, Mike, and you had to sell this, and you got this rare talent in Jon, but nobody wants to watch a movie if they know how it ends, right? In the fight business, you specifically have to create a narrative that this other guy could be the one. What do you do with Jon Jones? Who do you put him against? How do you figure this out? Do you look to Weidman versus Reyes? Maybe?
You might look to Weidman versus Reyes. I think that's a really interesting fight. Reyes is one of those guys like Johnny, what's his name? I'm just blanking on his name right now.
Walker.
Yes.
Yep.
Johnny Walker. He's the future. To me, he's my guy. I'm saying it now. I'm putting it out there and saying that Johnny Walker has the belt and will be the next Jon Jones, the unbeatable guy in the UFC. I truly believe that. I think he's that good. Dominic Reyes is really close. Dominic Reyes is awesome. I don't say that he beats Weidman, but I really like Chris, and I think Chris is a great fighter. But Dominic Reyes, man, he's the future. And if he wins that fight, you can 100%, you can promote Reyes in a way that he can rise to the level of, in an audience's mind, being a good competitor for Jon Jones. Beyond that, I don't know. Where do you go? What do you do? That's a really tough one.
It's a really tough one. And what ends up happening to Jon Jones, which is very unfair, is people think, oh, you're not fighting very hard fights, right? If you don't have a big name, then just in the fight world, you don't get to be a good fighter. Well, that's not true. There's great fighters, but I'm talking about selling tickets, selling subscriptions. That, I do think, is where a Chris Weidman really does fit the bill, being a former world champion, being a fellow New Yorker. Possibly Reyes, who's undefeated, to remind you, getting the shine off of Weidman if he wins. Possibly that propels him enough, but I also tend to think you're right. It is Johnny Walker, but he needs a couple more fights. You and I see it, but we're hardcore fans. The little old lady in Iowa, she's going to think that's the name of a whiskey that we're mispronouncing.
100%. You're 100% right. No one's going to, that's not going to put butts in seats. But Chris Weidman will, because I think people will always remember, and it's recent history enough, of Chris Weidman beating Anderson Silva twice. Right? So I think a lot of people look at Anderson Silva as the GOAT, or one of the GOATs for sure, and the same with Jon Jones. So it'll be an interesting thing to say, how would Weidman compete against Jon Jones? Well, he beat Anderson Silva, and I think people make that connection in their mind, and I think it makes for a fantastic fight. If Weidman looks great against Reyes, that's the fight to make. Dana will jump all over that fight. I can guarantee it. That's going to be the fight to make.
All right, I got to switch gears on you, but I wanted to ask you this on a personal level, but I haven't been able to talk to you. Have you seen Super Size Me 2?
No.
You saw the first one, though, I'm assuming.
Say again. I'm sorry, Chael, you broke up.
Super Size Me. Morgan Spurlock, Super Size Me. Did you see the first one?
I did. The McDonald's one. Where
yes.
He went to McDonald's and he ate McDonald's every day for a month, right?
Yes, and he gains weight and his cholesterol, and it was all of this stuff, and it was kind of against fast food. I mean, there's a little bit of a theme there. So I tuned in to see number 2. And not because I love number 1. There was just nothing else to watch. I was just wondering your opinion, because after I got done watching that, I wasn't sure why the movie was made. It was really confusing. It did not tie in to number 1. He kind of went after the chicken industry, was kind of talking about the power that Tyson frozen chicken has over chicken. I just didn't get it. I watched the whole thing. I was disappointed in the movie. I don't know why it was made. I wanted to critique a movie, but I wanted a guy who's a professional in the business take on it, but apparently you haven't seen it.
I will 100% watch it, because I would love to discuss it with you. From what I heard, it's an attempt to take down big chicken, right? It's the whole thing of like, there's big tobacco, there's big chicken, okay? That's a big industry. And from what I heard and what I read, and again, I haven't seen it, is that the difference between this and Super Size Me 1, and you have to watch out with a guy like Morgan Spurlock. He had a lot of success back then. He was new. He was motivated. He was really trying to prove something. He didn't know how the McDonald's thing was going to turn out for himself. I think he was kind of shocked at how very nauseous he became. I think with this one, it was a smear campaign. It was we're going after big chicken. And anytime you do that, it becomes a little lopsided. So maybe that is what you saw. It wasn't as pure maybe as the first one, but I'll watch it and we'll discuss.
I would love to. And I just want to tell you this, if you're watching with a little bit of a critical eye, he talks about a concept known as a health halo. And In this case, he was dealing with chicken, and as it pertains to fast food, so anytime a fried chicken that is very little chicken meat, whole lot of breading, whole lot of grease, you put it on a bun, you cover it in mayonnaise, but then you put things to create a halo, like coleslaw on top. So people go, oh, well, it's got cabbage on top, and it's got cucumber on it instead of, that sounds healthy. And this was like this fascinating concept, and I'm kind of looking at it going, man, that's propaganda and marketing, and that's not enough of a concept to make a movie. The idea that somebody could sell you on fast food being healthy because they put a cucumber on the sandwich is not that interesting, Morgan. That's my take. God bless him for doing it, but I think I'd love to recap with you. I really did on a personal level. Wanted to ask you what you thought of it.
I'm going to watch it 100%, and this Halo thing sounds crazy to me. It all sounds delicious, if I'm being honest. I mean, look at me. I'm not mad at I'm not mad at a fried chicken thing, anything fried chicken. With halos, without halos, I'm good. So, yeah, I'm good with I'll check the movie out and we'll discuss. By the way,
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. I want to let you know, in the predictions that we had in the last one, did I hit that out of the park?
Nailed it.
Round 3 stoppage.
Nailed it. That's the only way you could make money betting on Khabib Nurmagomedov. You have to call the way that he wins, and you have to call the round. You would have done about 7-1 business on that.
I would have. I didn't do anything. I didn't end up betting because after our conversation, I watched our last podcast and our interview, and I was flopping all over the place. I was for Tony. I was for Khabib. I mean, I was for Dustin. I was for Khabib. I was Dustin, Khabib. So I didn't bet anything, and I didn't win anything. But I enjoyed the fight.
That's what drives our business right there.
Yep,
that's what drives the business, and you constantly question. You forget a guy's greatness. Greatness is something fans have to be reminded of all the time. Every time I watch Jon Jones or Khabib, by example, I go, I will never bet against them again. I don't know how I forgot that they were so good. And every time they fight, I go, tonight could be the night because this guy. But that I want that as a fan. I want that. I want the conversation. I want the doubt. That makes it fun for me.
Absolutely. We went back and forth, and quite honestly, you made some really great points that night. And we really had some theories on how Dustin could pull it off. And they all made sense. They weren't so far-fetched. The guy's a fantastic fighter. He could have pulled it off. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, right. It's Khabib. I forgot. And he is something, man. He really is. He is a specimen. The kid is awesome.
Yeah, I fully agree. All right, so you got anything else to get off your chest?
No, brother, that's it. I'm going to go watch some stuff about fried chicken and talk to you about that soon, and I can't wait.
I'm going to go get myself some chicken nuggets. I'm glad we had this talk. Thank you, pal. Talk soon.
Thank you, brother. Talk soon.
Guys.
Bye.
Mike Soccio, always an expert, by the way. I must say, if anybody has a gift for gab and can tell you something simple and make it sound phenomenal, it's that guy.